Welcome to the Country Place program. Today I'd like to go ahead and talk a little bit about maybe trimming up the cannas and what you can do. Now, one thing important, if you do have some cannas, they make a real big spectacular plant. We've got a planting out front and we got several plantings in barrels here. But you see right here, you can go ahead and cut that off. You can see the seeds and all have formed, but you don't want to cut down too low, and you don't want to go ahead and cut this portion off right here, even though that flower is maybe going downhill a little bit maybe, but there's like a little part of it that's coming up like this right here. You can see that bit better, and that's starting to come up, and that's where your new flowers will come from. So this is the part that you'll be cutting off right here later on. But that's very important. If you cut down here, you cut the stem, then you're going to be cutting the potential flowers for down the road. Now, just like this one here, again, you can see this is the old ones here. Kind of hard to get it all coming out here right. But there would be some old ones here, and you can just cut that off, and then it will go ahead and put some more shoots up. And you can keep them flowering all summer that way, but you do need to clean them up and make it work better for you. Now, the Japanese beetle has loved these little plants. Today they don't seem to be there, but they have been, and that's something that we've had to spray for. That was the only bad thing this year, but I think all of you have had Japanese beetles on something, one way or the other. Now, down around the plant, we've got the lantana, and I've talked about lantana before, especially the red lantana. If you like hummingbirds, they really like that. And we do have one hummingbird finally that came around, and I imagine there's more than one, but we only see one at a time. And they'll go ahead and they love these lantana flowers. Okay, now another thing I have here on the porch, I have some baskets. Now some of these baskets, the petunia baskets, you can go ahead and remember, you can always trim a petunia basket. When they get big, like this basket here, you can trim around and go around the edge of the pot and make it into a much, much prettier basket down the road. So there's several down here that we trimmed, and they come back out, and they look really good. Right now, this time of year is a good time to plant your cabbage and broccoli and cauliflower, and we do have a good selection. We have the Bravo and the Stonehead cabbage, and those type of plants are right around now, from now until the end of August is the best time to be planting them. This is our first crop that we have coming along, and we have two other crops that will be coming in right shortly thereafter. We just transplanted a second crop yesterday, but it takes time. And one thing I do want to show you, you see where it's got a few little holes in the leaf here, and that's a sign of some cabbage looper. But they have the cabbage looper. It's a real devastating little critter. He'll go ahead and eat you out of house and home real quick. We had maybe we get a picture of one yet, a white butterfly or moth floating around here. If you see them coming around your cabbage, you will have cabbage worms within a few days, so keep that in mind. Right here is a basket that is really, really good this time of year. It's a Vinca Basket, and we have several of them. It's probably the best selling basket that we have at this time. It's a basket that does very well in the hot summer, and it doesn't take a lot of care. It's one that I've talked about. You can't plant it earlier, but it is an excellent basket, and we do have a good selection. Now, we have a lot of ferns. When you come into our place this time of the year, you see a lot of ferns that we have, because we have to start a fern quite early, really. We start them in the summertime to be grown actually for sale next year. Now, we do have ferns that we can sell that are big enough, but you have to look at that as a possibility. Now, this is a macho fern, and that's going to make a huge fern by the time next year comes around. Underneath the macho fern is a great plant for shade area, a caladium, and you can go ahead, it's still, you got a spot that looks a little bad, you can put them in as long as it's shady. And people come in right now this time of year and they say, well, it's getting near mid-season, but you know what? There's a lot of people that have things die on them, they go away on vacations, and so we try to keep a good selection of plants. That's important. After all, you wouldn't go to a clothing store if they had 2 pairs of pants. And the same thing applies to the flowers. We keep a good selection, not because we have an abundance of them, but because we want to offer a good product to our customers. Well, what we have here is the fall mums. As you can see behind me, this goes on. This is around 2.5 acres of mums. Now, the bigger ones are up here at this end, and we have some smaller ones in 9-inch pots. These are in patio pots, and they are in 12-inch pots. Now, you can see they're just starting to form little bitty buds. They're just very small at this point in time. But that's very important. You want to buy a mum that is just getting ready in the bud stage when you buy it. If you buy mums, you can right now, and I will show you some here. You can buy them right now, but don't think they're going to last all fall. The ones that are budded in September and starting to crack color, those are the ones that will last through give you your fall color. Now, of course, if you're going to have a party or something like that, then sure, go ahead and buy the ones that are blooming out. Now, across the way here, we do have one variety, an orange one here, that is coming along, and will be more bloomed out here by mid-August, and it will be a right pretty plant. But again, the chance of this lasting all the way through the fall season is probably slim. It'll probably get a little shop worn in October probably. So that gives you an idea of what we're doing now. One thing, like I know a lot of times in Springfield and Lebanon and Washington County, and also in Bardstown, you have relatives. We just have a place down in Louisville. It's just amazing how many relatives y'all have that live back here, because they tell my wife, well, we come from, originally my grandfather, my grandmother are from Lebanon, and or Springfield, or from Bardstown. And it always just amazes how many people have come from this area that have settled in Louisville and Lexington and different areas around. But the more important point is, if you have someone in your family, like a young person or that, and you know they're living in another place, and they want to sell mums as a fundraiser, that's what we do with most of these mums. We sell them to groups like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, 4-H groups, band groups, school groups of any type, and they go ahead and resell them to raise money for their organization. It's a great fundraiser, it's a good one, and also the people are getting a good value. Okay, we talked about how many mums we have, and these are mums. I wanted to show you this. This is around 2.5 acres of 9-inch mums. When I say 9-inch mums, they're in this black pot like that, and they'll make a nice mum. Now, when this mum gets fully grown, it will be another 3-4 inches taller, because they grow about 1/3 more. After it starts getting buds, it grows at least another 1/3 as what it is, if not a little bit more than that, by the time it's finished and ready for sale. So you can see we have a great expanse of mums, and you can see the overhead water. We have to water overhead, mainly because we have, out here in the country, we have a lot of little rabbits and little varmints that just love to go ahead. If we use the trickle irrigation system, which would put a little tube in each pot, the rabbits just love to chew on them, and as soon as they chew through a tube, it destroys the plant. And the tube has some fertilizer. We put fertilizer through the water system, and they love the salts that are in the fertilizer. So we've gone to the overhead irrigation, which has proved to be more advantageous to us. Well, I'd like to thank you for being here today and watching the Country Place show. We're located directly across from the Lebanon Springfield Airport. Stop in and see us.